What's that? Exactly. Yeah, 99 or 98 or something. By a lot. Probably a bigger upset than Old Dominion.
Yeah, Old Dominion's not, they're not bad, and they got a lot of talent. They get everything picked up.
Right there, huh?
Yeah.
We had a tapping schedule that day.
Well, they played them last year, but it was home and home. And it was like 44-7 last year, Blacksburg.
Right.
Supposedly it was for recruiting purposes up in that area.
Well, we know where they're going this year. Yeah, the lost time with Old Dominion.
All right, are we ready to go, Jason? We have everyone here that we expect.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order, the regular meeting of the Town of Abingdon Planning Commission. I'd like to welcome everyone here. I have a sign-up sheet for those who would like to address the Planning Commission. If you did not see it as you came through and you'd like to sign up and address the Planning Commission in a few moments, let me know and we can still add names to the list. That's not a problem. For attendance purposes, we'd like to have a roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Dr. White?
Here.
Mr. Bradley?
Here.
Mr. Sullivan?
Here.
Mr. Schuman? Absent. Mr. Austin?
I'm here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much, sir. First on our agenda tonight is the approval of the August 27th minutes. I think that you have those that are attached to your agenda. Are there any changes, additions, or modifications to those?
I move we approve those.
Second to the motion?
Second.
Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? All right.
Abstain since I wasn't here.
Yes, sir. All right, not on the agenda tonight, but last meeting we agreed to move the public comment time to a time prior to taking care of any other business. So Mr. Bradley has correctly pointed out that this is the appropriate place to do that. So at this time, we're going to welcome anyone who'd like to address the Planning Commission to come up to the podium. When you come up, if you'll please give us your full name, the meeting is being recorded, and your address so that we'll have that for our records. And then you're welcome to address the Planning Commission on whatever topic you feel is appropriate. Please remember that your comments are limited to 3 minutes each, please. And first I have on here is Judy Johnson, is that correct?
Yes.
Please come right up.
My name is Judy Johnson. I live at 1059 Empire Drive in Abingdon. And we're talking about rezoning the property at the end of our driveway, at the end of our street. We moved here about 17 years ago to what we believe to be a quiet, safe residential neighborhood. The neighborhood was comprised mostly of elderly neighbors and a greenhouse at the end of our street. Our street had almost no traffic, and what traffic we did have was very slow and safe, and we felt just fine living on that street. Imagine our surprise to find that when a new business opened at the end of the street, our traffic increased dramatically. Not only did the traffic increase, but the speed at which the traffic travels increased dramatically. And it's made it dangerous for people who live in our neighborhood. I personally watched an elderly lady almost get hit 3 or 4 times, and I myself was taking some trash across to put in the pile where they pick it up, and had I taken one more step, I would have been hit because the vehicle did not even offer to slow down when it came by the house, and that happens more frequently than I'd like to admit. I'm not happy, and I do not feel safe with the traffic on our street now. If we add additional traffic, which the business at the end might, I feel it will cause our property values to decrease, and that's something we definitely don't want or need. The zoning for this property, when it was purchased, I assume was set, and now we need to change it. I don't have a problem with our present owner. I think he's a fine person. I think he's a nice being. I'm concerned with what might happen if we zone this to a M1, which would then give us about 15 categories of different kinds of businesses that could go into that area and what it could do in the future to us. In all fairness, I ask myself, what would be the benefit to our community to have it rezoned? There's nothing that I can think of. I think it's for storage units. There are 2 storage units within sight of our house almost that anyone could store stuff in if they needed to. The owner of this property asking for this rezoning does not live in my neighborhood. Neither, to my knowledge, do any of you making this decision tonight live in my neighborhood. It is my hope that you would put yourself in a position in my neighborhood, put your house there, and ask yourself, would you want to be rezoned as you carefully consider this request? As you can see, your home in my neighborhood would not benefit from this rezoning. Your safety, security, property values, and happiness depend on your decision tonight. I would like to ask that you deny this request for rezoning. And if you are considering rezoning, I would like you to consider something else. I would like you to please consider requiring a separate entrance for this property so that the traffic doesn't come through our street, affect our quality of life, our safety, and our neighborhood. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
All right, and I apologize for if I mispronounce names here. It looks like Susan.
Yeah, you can pronounce my last name.
Is it G-A-M-E-L?
Yeah, Campbell with a G.
Oh, okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Susan Camille. I live at 1077 Empire Drive, Abingdon, Virginia. I'm concerned about the traffic, but my property adjoins this property. It's gonna lower my value more than anybody. And I've got an 11-year-old daughter. I don't want, you don't know who's coming in off the interstate. It dead ends. And I don't want, it puts her at risk, in my personal opinion. And she's just 11. And I don't like that. And I really don't, I can't think of what I want to say.
You take your time.
But my property value is the biggest thing, because it's going to lower my property value right there. And I'm connected right to it, and I'm going to be facing it, and I'm going to be seeing the buildings and who comes in, who goes out. There's no fence there that anybody can come there, and if my child's outside, I'm not going to put my child at risk like that. I'm not going to do it. And then the traffic, it's unreal. People come up in my driveway now and come all the way around my house because they think it's a turning thing. And I have a problem with that because I got 2 driveways that goes all over my house. And I have a big problem. And the police don't patrol out there as what they should be doing either. And I'm just against it. I really am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Anderson?
My name is Sadie Anderson. I live at 1053 Empire Drive in Abingdon. I am very concerned with the storage buildings going in up there. I have gone up number 11 and I have seen cars all night long going into where their storage buildings are. I have had an animal that was sitting on the side of the road and got killed. That was a car just went flying up through there and didn't even bother to go around. It hit my dog and killed my dog. There is a lot of traffic, and it's a dead-end street up at the end of our up at the end of the road. I am very concerned unless they put another drive in there where the traffic can come in another way, because there's too much traffic on our street as it is now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Mr. Johnson?
My name is Gordon Johnson. I'm at 1059 Empire Drive. And biggest concern I have, a lot of times with these storage units, it ends up being someone wants to hide their drugs, they want to hide their this, that, and another, and they cannot patrol up there 24 hours a day. I know he may be putting up a fence and maybe barbed wire even on top of that, like a lot of them are, but it's not hard to get bolt cutters and you can cut that fence and go right in. I think it's going to create a lot of problems in that we don't know who's going to be up there and who's got a storage unit or who decides they may want to cut the fence and go in, break in there, and that's just going to bring people in there that which we do not want in our area. And another thing I was curious about, I thought whenever you have a redistricting, like a M1 or O1, I thought there had to be a certain amount of acreage in order to qualify to get an O1, to get businesses in up there. This I'm not sure, but I have read that. And I just wonder if that would apply to what's going on up there, because I really think that, from what I read, it has to be 50 acres or more in order to put your motels, hotels, restaurants, whatever else is in up there. I'm not sure about the ordinance in Abingdon, but that's the concern I have. It's just the people that's gonna be coming up there and using those storage buildings, and like I say, people do go up there at night anyway and park and drink and who knows what else, you can guess. But that's the concern I have for our little area. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Gann?
My name is Ramsey Campbell. I live next door. I live in 1077 Empire Drive. So actually, my neighbor covered all the bases I was going to talk about. So the only my concern from the business wise, since he want to do a business to make a money. So what about if you guys finally throw it away all what's neighborhood said and you decide to give him what he want? Can I reserve my equal opportunity to get the same treatment, to change my house to commercial zone and start to make business too? I'm sorry to sound like this, but that's what it is. You see what I'm saying? Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, is there anyone else that during the public comment portion of tonight's meeting that would like to address the Planning Commission? We are going to have a public hearing on the rezoning, which is next on the agenda. You'll have the opportunity to speak again if anyone cares to do so. All right, thank you very much. I'll pass this to our secretary and have that filed.
Sir?
Okay, next on our agenda tonight is a public hearing, application for rezoning and zoning text amendment. Public hearing, application for rezoning and zoning text amendment, Michael C. and Lori B. Noonkester, owner, 1103 Empire Drive Southwest, currently zoned Office and Institutional District. The request is to rezone 2 parcels to M1, limited industrial, and to allow mini and self-storage facility as a permitted use. This involves tax map number 106-20-1 and tax map number 106-20-2. At this time, I would like to call the public hearing to order. And first of all, I'd like to ask Mr. Boswell if you would just give us an overview of what's included in our agenda packet tonight, the nature of the request, and then I will ask at the conclusion of that anyone who would like to address the Planning Commission, first of all, in favor of this rezoning, and then I would ask that anyone who would like to address the Planning Commission opposed to this rezoning to be able to do so. Mr. Boswell?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Olson. Mr. Newcastle approached the planning department. He has a gentleman looking to possibly purchase the property for mini storage, which is currently not a permitted use in any zoning district within the town limits of Abingdon. It is an industrial use, so in order to achieve that, the property would have to be rezoned to M1, and the zoning text would have to be changed to allow that as a permitted use in the M1 district.
All right, thank you very much. Now, at this time, anyone that would like to address the Planning Commission in favor of this request, please come up to the podium, state your name, address, and address the Planning Commission, please.
I'm Mike Newcaster, the owner, and, you know, I just,
Can we get your address, please, for the record?
1103 Empire Drive. Yep, Abingdon, Virginia. But, you know, my question is that if I can't do a rezoning and self-storage, is, you know, I really and truly have the kind of heart that I think about everybody in the subdivision. You know, I really and truly do. But what could be, if you check any statistics on self-storage, I have some at exit 10 with Alan Buchanan. It's probably the lowest density of traffic of anything you could put in there. I can't think really of anything. And, you know, I bought that property for an investment. I'm using the building, I bought it from J.D. Moorfield, and I'm using it, and it used to be M1, and he got it rezoned to OI. Of course, I had to come, when I bought the property 2 years ago, I had to come before y'all, and I had to get it divided into lots. J.D. had it done, but he passed away and never did have it recorded at the courthouse. So I had to go before public hearings and everything just to get it back into lots. But to be honest, I don't know, it's at a dead-end street. You know, commercially wise, it's a hard sell. You know, I've had it for 2 years. It's really put me in a financial bind, bad. I mean, I thought it would be nothing to sell it. Then I had to get it subdivided, and then I've not had anybody to look at it. You know, I just, because it's at a dead-end street. And you know, the town limits, if you look on the plat, that road is a service road, is what it's called for the interstate. It's either got a 65-foot or a 95-foot from the center of the road setback to before the town property or my property starts. When you come up the entrance to my property, 65 feet of it's county. When you get to my line, that's where the town starts. And you go to the far east end of it, and the side of it is the town limits. It's the dead-end street. It overlooks the interstate. I know that J.D. Moorfield, I didn't know this when I bought it, but he tried up-team things. And I think that everyone in the subdivisions and everybody protested just about everything was gonna go in there. So if self-storage can't go in there, I don't know what the town expects me to do with it. You know, I don't know what I can, that never even entered my mind when I bought it, that it would be such a hard thing to really try to get rid of. I just do taxidermy supplies, and I'm a mail order business, you know, and I've got 6 employees, counting myself. And, you know, if they're speeding, they need to get the police out there and set it out. You know, I know it's 35 up through there. I'm real bad to catch myself going 45. But, you know, they need to have a police officer sit there. If my employees get a ticket, they get a ticket, you know. But I know I don't have a whole lot of traffic, but far as drugs or anything going on up there, I don't know if any of y'all know the property I'm talking about. When I bought it, the windows was busted out of it, the doors was broke out of it, and it was a nice building. Somebody had took probably 12-foot tall letters, graffiti, wrote on the building. They broke in, they kicked all the doors down. They got up on the mezzanine, and J.D. Moorfield used it as a spot to store stuff out of rental properties. If it was a toilet and it worked, he didn't want to throw it away, so he took it up there. There hadn't been no power on it in 12 years when I bought it. But kids had broken in there and kicked all the doors down. They stood up on the very top of the mezzanine, threw toilets off. It was a disaster. And now, if you look at it, it really looks nice. I keep it bush hogged. You know, if self-storage would go in there, they would have to go by the site plan, and they'd have to do fencing, put shrubs, fences, a buffer zone in the back, whatever needs to be done. You know, I'm not asking for anything like that. I'm just wanting to be able to get rid of it, you know. And, you know, I know that the people in the subdivision don't realize it, but about 12 months ago, almost to the date, I got a phone call. I had the property sold. I got a phone call from Debbie Eisenhower, and Debbie was in tears. And she said, do you realize in 2 weeks, the property closing, do you realize who's buying it? And it sort of stunned me. And I said, well, I realize it's a company, a corporation, and it's a medical firm, And she said, no, it's a straight up methadone clinic. She said, it's the same gentleman, Steve Keshner, that had down in Blunt, what was on TV and people protesting. She said, it's the same person and we cannot stop it. The way it's zoned and the distance from schools and everything else, we cannot stop it. The only person that can stop it, and you've got 14 days to do it. They were paying me $235,000, and believe me, I was not in no position at all to pull the plug on it. I had depended on that because I thought I was getting that money, and I kept on doing this at the property and that at the property because I knew I was getting that money. Well, when she told me it was a methadone, I went home talking to my wife, and we both said, morally and ethically, we could not do that. I knew what everybody in the subdivision would think of me, especially the people beside us. I mean, I knew what it would do, but I was the only person that could stop it, and I did. And it was $235,000, and it's a vacant lot. It's not those lots, it's the lot on the east end of the property. It's 2.5 acres. But it's put me in an awful financial situation. I'd planned on every bit of that. And so I'm just asking you, for traffic flow, anything to do with that property, what else could be better to go in there? I mean, I just can't, no retail stores will go in there, so I don't know what, so all I'm doing is bush hogging it, mowing it, and paying taxes on it, and I want to be able to sell it. But I don't want to hurt nobody, I really mean that. I can't think of anything that could be any better to go in that spot right there. So I probably went over my time, but I'm just being honest.
Quite all right.
Yeah.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Lancaster? Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the application? All right, at this time I would invite anyone that would like to speak in the public hearing opposing that. Those of you who addressed the Planning Commission in public comment time, if you'd like to come back and add anything to what you already said, please feel free to do so. But with the Planning Commissioner's approval, we'll have those comments, consider those to be in this, taken in this public hearing also, if that's acceptable. Okay. Anyone like to say
I would
anything
like to
additional?
say just a couple
Yes,
of
ma'am,
things.
please.
This is the first time I've ever received any notification whatsoever that I could come and address this board, or that anything was being considered about the changes for this. And I was there even when the greenhouse existed and when they were selling it. So if it was rezoned at that time, why were we not notified of that? I don't understand why we never got any notice that there was a rezoning. And another thing, as far as that property is concerned, it's sat up there for sale for years. Nobody would buy it. And I think that's why he's having a problem now. I don't think anybody's gonna buy it. And I just think that we should not have to suffer because they want to put a commercial something in at the end of our street. We're a residential community. We are not a business community. And we consist solely, except for that one place, that everything in our place is houses. Houses, children, grandparents, people, that's what we are. We're not a business. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Yes, I would.
Please,
Well, when you say it's
would you state your name again, please? That's okay.
My name is Susan Denton.
Okay, thank you.
When you've got this listed as industrial, nobody wants to live beside an industrial park. I mean, it lowers the value, it puts my child at risk, because I don't know who's coming in there, who's coming out. And I've lived there for a long time, almost 18 years. And there's been plenty of stuff that's happened at the end of the road. And the police has been called, and my car's been broke into, not once, but twice. I've had a laptop stolen, and I've had 2 phones stolen, and in the back part of my building was broke into. I don't know who's doing it, and I'm not gonna put my child at risk. I'm sorry, that's my baby. And it's putting her at risk, because I don't know who's coming in, who's coming out. And like I said, they come around my driveway 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and they wake you up, and by the time you get there, you don't know who's been on your property. I'm gonna have to put gates to keep people out of my driveways. I just really, I'm really against it.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, sir.
Anyone else? All right, if not, I'm going to declare that the public hearing is now complete and adjourned. And I will now request comments from the planning commissioners, or any questions or thoughts in regards to it. Would be pleased to entertain any motions in the form of a recommendation to the town council, either for or against the application for rezoning.
Mr. Boswell, I think town staff has a recommendation, don't they?
Yes, sir. The existing zoning, we believe is reasonable, especially given the fact that, there are options available to Mr. Newcastle for, as it's zoned, right now. And also the comprehensive plans, future land use designation has that piece of property to be zoned as residential dwellings. So it is not consistent with comprehensive plan. So staff would, with all these factors to consider, staff would recommend that the rezoning be denied.
And I think I have in the handout, you sent out and so forth the spot zoning ordinance.
Yes, sir.
And the
Yes,
spot
sir.
zoning ordinance, which is, the spot zone is illegal.
Yes.
And spot zoning, I'm reading, is when the purpose of the zoning amendment is solely to serve private interests of the landowner rather than the general welfare of the community.
Yes, sir.
And I think this would probably be interpreted in spot zoning.
Yes, sir, especially when you're dealing with just two small parcels. If it was, 50 acres subdivided, something of that nature, it could be considered differently, but currently as it is, with just two small parcels, I would consider it to be spot zoning.
Mr. Newcastle, I appreciate your situation, but I can't support your rezoning. I think this is a incorrect use of property. The current zoning is a gift. And
Is what?
the current zoning is a gift.
What's that mean? I don't understand.
It means that it shouldn't be zoned that way anyway. It shouldn't be zoned office and institutional the way it is. It should be residential. So
I'd have never bought it.
that was a break,
Right.
To change it to industrial, I think is not going to benefit any of the surrounding owners. So I can't support this, but I appreciate your situation. I'm sorry.
Well, could y'all tell me what could go in there? With it zoned office, institutional, what? And personally, I mean, I know what y'all are saying, I can understand that. But if I would go up there, if it's office institutional, can you build condominiums, apartments?
Single-family dwellings are a permitted use.
So would apartments be that?
No, sir. No, single-family dwelling, just one, like what's currently there in the neighborhood, that exists in the neighborhood. Just a single-family home.
If you get with Mr. Boswell, I'm sure he'll give you a copy of that, and it will give you a listing of what would be allowed in the zone as it is.
In office institutional?
Yes, sir. He'd be happy to do that.
He can help you with interpretation of some of these things too.
So like you could build like an office, you could build like a mini mall with offices in it, like, CPAs or whatever. That's what
Professional offices
office.
and public offices, general business offices.
Well, I think that everybody in the neighborhood will find out that if I ever would sell it to somebody like that, you'll have 10 times the traffic as self-storage, because I do have self-storage at exit 10, and it really is about the lowest density that you can possibly get. Most people that rent self-storage, and I'm as guilty as everybody, I've rented them. I bet I never went once a year back to it because it was junk I didn't want at my house. So I never went back to it. But it is the lowest, I assume they're not going to prove it, but really true, it is the lowest density of traffic that you really can have.
And the area to the east there that's in the county, I know I drew up a residential subdivision in there years ago, so I know it's farm field now, but that was the intent there. I don't know what the county zoning is there, but you know, be even more surrounded by residential if that ever came in.
Anyone care to make any motions regarding this application?
Yeah, I do. And I do have an explanation first, if you don't care. And
Please.
I will address the Newcasters and tell you, how much I do appreciate what you've done for the community in the sense of the issue that you brought to light. And I think that you're correct that not just these folks sitting here, but that entire subdivision has no clue what would have happened should a methadone clinic. have
And they
gone.
don't really realize that
Yeah.
y'all couldn't stop it.
Yeah, and.
They couldn't.
Were we not told about this so we could?
You didn't have to be, because Office Institutional I could call
How did
them
it-
back right now, and they couldn't stop it if
What I
called
don't
them.
understand is how did it get changed from residential to office institutional? When did that take place? And how did that take place without anyone being aware of it?
I'm not sure
Way
when it
before my
occurred,
time.
but it
Way before my time.
it would have required the same process we're going through now to change it, which includes advertising in the newspaper to give notice to the public. And presumably that was done.
30, 40 years ago, I'm sure, when Johnson Keeley had their greenhouses.
No, I think JD had it switched to OI.
I don't
After.
And if he did, he bought that after I lived there, and I never heard anything about it being switched at all.
But can I say one other thing?
please.
I feel like that everybody's, they might not be meaning it, but I feel like they're thinking that I have caused a problem up there. But the whole property looks, if it's, as far as people breaking into your cars or people stealing your stuff, it was a grown-up flipping mess. Anybody that lived around here knew it. You know, and all I've done is improve it and try. And if I was the kind of person that I feel like people's thinking I am, I would call Steve Kessler tomorrow, and everyone of them up here knows it. They could not stop it, and there would be a methadone clinic beside your house.
Well, then I would move.
Well,
Yeah.
but I'm
I'll
telling you,
move.
for $235,000, I still would not do that. I couldn't make myself do it. And I promise you, God strike me dead, that's the truth.
Thank you,
And I
Mr.
didn't-
Newcastle.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sullivan,
Let's
you
go.
in the process of.
Well, I just want to say thank you to the Newcasters for doing what they've done. But I'm going to make a motion to decline this, and I'm not going to make the motion out of any ill will, because I don't think there's any ill will toward the Newcasters. I'm going to make the motion quite simply because this is a case of spot zoning, and by legal right, it's only proper that we decline this.
So can I say something, please?
That's your motion
Okay,
process.
after you finish, yeah, go ahead.
In this fashion, because to take any other action, I feel would be ethically irresponsible on our behalf. So I'll make a motion that we decline the request for rezoning.
And that's actually, Ms. Newcastle, wait just 1 second. I want to give you a date before you leave, if you could please. Wait on me just 1 second. That's in the form of a motion to make that recommendation to the town council that it not be approved and not be rezoned. Second to that motion. All right, Mr. Anderson, second. Any additional discussion in regards to that? All right. When is the next town council meeting for that? That's what I want to tell her. October 4th. This is only a recommendation from the Planning Commission to the town council. There will be another public hearing, everyone know this now, at this town council meeting, and the town council will hear the recommendation of the.
No, that's not correct, sir. That's not correct. If
Well,
you-
I
if you-
apologize,
if
I
you-
thought this was in the form of a recommendation.
No, this is, if it's denied here, then they have the opportunity to appeal.
To
your
appeal it.
decision.
To
Yes.
appeal.
Yes, which
All right.
they have to do within 30 days. Not within codes.
Am I wrong? It won't be the first time I've been told that today.
Are you, what I mean?
If it is denied here tonight, they have the opportunity to appeal to the town council.
Right, but it will not be heard by the town council unless it's an appeal.
Unless there's an
Unless it's
appeal.
Unless it's
Okay,
appealed.
all right. I stand corrected. All right, and that meeting, or that appeal could be made to the town council, and hopefully get it on that agenda by that time. All right, any other questions or comments? Let's have a roll call vote, please, sir.
Mr. Anderson? Yes, Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson? Mr. Wilson? Dr. White? Mr. Bradley?
Aye.
Mr. Sullivan?
Aye.
Mr. Elson?
Aye. All right, thank you very much, and I apologize for my misunderstanding in regards to that. Next on our agenda tonight is a certificate of appropriateness, application for a certificate of appropriateness, Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Falcon Hospitality, 625 Loretta Drive, Whitfield, Virginia. Owner Matthew Bundy here with Bundy Architecture and Engineering as the representative. Construction of new Holiday Inn and Suites with parking to be located in the Meadows. Mr. Bundy.
Yes, after our meeting last month, we did some research. We actually found the bylaws of the subdivision, the minimum design requirements. And so, and what those require is that the first floor, did you give them a copy of that?
I did.
Okay. So I guess that's in your packet, but that the first floor be stone and that a certain percentage of the building, actually 50% of the first floor be stone. What we propose is quite a bit more stone or brick. It says stone or brick. We propose stone. That's the standard material that Holiday Inn uses. It looks very nice on this design. And so all the part that's orange brown there, that is all going to be, is proposed to be stone. So it gets quite a bit more than the first floor, more than 50% of the first floor actually, and then quite a bit of other portions of the building. And I think that was the main concern from last month.
Anyone have any questions of Mr. Bundy? Do have that information in our agenda.
Is this the minimum they have to do? I reckon the real question I'm asking, are they trying to do just the minimum to meet the standards, or are they going a little bit above the standard?
They're doing quite a bit more. The standard is a minimum 50% of the first floor and side exterior building elevations. They're doing 100% of the first floor, which says excluding glass. So they're going quite a bit above that. It says natural clay and or stone products.
And the above floors will be stucco and, where's I'm reading here?
Yeah, above floors will be stucco. And glass, it's predominantly glass, especially on the front. Well, maybe not predominantly. So a lot of those lines are the lines, the detail lines in the stucco.
This is a lot different from the one we saw last time, isn't it?
No, the only difference is these areas is stucco.
This is what you saw
Yeah,
last
last
time.
time. Yeah.
Mr. Brown.
Yeah, where these were all gonna be stucco and this was gonna be stone, now we're making all this that's, actually, we're making all this stone up to this first level windows and it jumps up over here and, it wraps around the sides. And then all this under here would be stone, so it's gonna really feel like a stone building as you approach it. So it is quite a bit different in that a lot of stone's been added, but the basic design, the basic geometry is exactly the same.
just has a better feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions or comments for the planning commission? All right, thank you very much. All right, I'll be pleased to entertain any motions regarding the certificate of appropriateness.
I move we approve the certificate of appropriateness as presented.
Second to that motion.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. Is there any additional discussion on this issue?
Just want the commission to know that I have had a discussion with Mr. Bundy about, they will have to come back for a comprehensive plan, comprehensive sign plan, because that was not submitted in the COA, which is also part of the reciprocal agreement between the town and Marathon.
Right, do we need to add which plan? I know we're assuming it's a second, but should that be added to the motion, which plan we're approving? Or which application?
Yeah,
It will be noted for us that it will be the September 24, 2018 COA. that was submitted.
Mr. Bradley, you agree
Yes,
that that's part of the
yes,
motion?
yes, yes.
Mr. Sullivan, for your second, you agree?
Yes, sir.
All right, any additional discussion? All right, if not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next on our agenda tonight is any old business or matters that are not on the agenda, including a update on the comprehensive plan. Mr. Brown?
Did I hear correctly that document is design guidelines for the development out there? That's the one that when the credit union came in, they were like, we know it exists, but there's no record of it.
And this is everything that the commission members need to get aware of, right here, in these two sections right here.
Thank you.
Other than the comprehensive sign plan. If you all want a copy of that, I'd be more than happy to forward it to you, so you can see it.
I would love to see it, yeah, if you had a chance.
Make a note of that, please, James, to send them the reciprocal agreement between the town and Marathon. The comprehensive plan update, the proposals are due on the 28th, this Friday. I will be out of town for the VASO conference, but I've instructed the director of finance to bring those proposals to my office. We already have 2 proposals, and I hope to get this. I've talked to 4 other firms within the last 2 weeks on them submitting a proposal, so I look to have to at least 4 by Friday. But I thought maybe we could discuss who would like to be involved in the interview process on the commission. That will be rapidly approaching after the 28th.
Are you interviewing everybody, or do you narrow it down to?
We'll probably try to narrow it down to 3.
I mean, I wouldn't mind being involved, it just depends on the date,
I'll try
as long as I can.
to get with
work it
whoever
out.
wants to be involved in it. We can try to set a date to where we can all be there.
I'll do that.
All right, very good. Anything else on the comprehensive plan?
No, sir, not on comprehensive.
What about matters that are not on the agenda or old business? Anyone have anything?
I know that you had mentioned last meeting about getting Mr. Bell here to talk about the Kroger. He was unavailable to be here, he's at trial.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to get him at the October.
Let's do that. I know Mr. Schuman wants to be here. The concern that we have is, if we put any special conditions on a certificate of appropriateness, how can those be enforced? Or are we wasting our time doing that? Which is, in reading his letter, and there's some other things that we want to bring to his attention about that.
Yes, sir. We'll try to get him here for the October meeting.
Thank you very much. All right, anything else in terms of old business, matters not on the agenda? Announcements? Adjournment, did I hear a motion?
It's always in order, I'll make it.
Second to Dr. Weissman.
I'm gladly saying that.
All right, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed are welcome to stay.